Hello everybody! It's been a while since I've made a video because I decided to do something very interesting and something I've never done before, and that was run for Congress. That'll be on another video because I think I'm going to run again. Moving on, today's video on Maybe You Shouldn't Do That is brought to you by Shasta Tonic Water. So what we're going to do today, in my historic process of buying a firearm and then seeing if I could truly screw it up. I love to tinker, as most of you know. So I go out and I look for, oh god, here comes the dog again. I go out and I look for sometimes the weirdest thing I could possibly get, like a $75 pump action shotgun. So, would you like to see why it's $75? Sure. How about this? Let's turn that guy off, turn that guy on. Alright. Can you see that? Let's pull in. Da da da. See that rust on there? Look at that rust. Oh my god, there's rust all over this freaking thing. Not only that, see that screw sticking out the side right there? Bonk. Right there? Yeah, well, that was not supposed to be there. This is a Westernfield, made in America, M550AR 12 gauge. Alright, now there's a lot of you out there going, I know what that gun is! It's a Musburg 500! Yeah! That's exactly what's going on. This is a Musburg 500, and you can see this thing is pretty freaking rusted up, man. I don't know, can you see inside that barrel? Maybe that way. So, anyway, what is going on when I first got this shotgun is this screw that screws into this aluminum receiver here, right, which holds in the ejector across the way. You literally just screw it in the side of the wall there. Came with a very tiny screw. Well, the original people who had this before me stripped it out, lost the ejector, re-tapped it to the next size up, which is exactly what I was going to do, because most of my guns, when I buy something like this in this manner, they don't stay the same. I'll hack a barrel down, chop a stock off, glue staghorn to whatever I want. Maybe I'll make it look like a shadow vessel from Babylon 5, little sting sticking off the side. But one of the major reasons why this gun's not very good is because, we're back, we're forward, and did you hear the click? Okay, hammer drops, makes a nice click, means it's probably going to shoot. Alright, so let's just do it this way. Hey, what? Better yet, hey, quit looking at my chickens. And the hammer, I found out, when you pump it forward in a vertical or a horizontal position like this, the sear is not coming back, and so the hammer just rides forward. It didn't fire off a round because, like an idiot, I actually had a live round in there, and I went click, 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 oh shit. So what I wanted it to do was, you know, it ejects rounds just fine. Where's my dummies? I mean, other than the guy wielding the camera. Okay, this one is shot, empty, right? So pull it back. Here comes the dog again. 3 dram. Oh, come on, baby. Alright, you're going to be that way about it? Okay, I'm boring the snot out of you folks, but trust me, keep on this. It ejects the rounds just fine. It loads rounds just fine. It actually functions just kind of fine, except for that hammer. Well, what the whole premise of this video is that I'm going to take apart the trigger system and show you exactly how to dig down into it and try to figure out what to do and replace the one part that we need to have done to make it function just fine. And from there, I'm actually thinking about, I looked online for a bunch of Musburg accessories. Yeah, see? Comes out just fine. Musburg accessories. And I think I've got on back order, I've got the short magazine tube and a long vented rib barrel. I'm not a duck hunter. I have my grandfather's shotgun. That's the nicest shotgun I'll probably ever have. It's a Winchester Model 12. This guy I don't know what to do with. I may go to a blacksmith and if this metal's any good, have him make a knife out of it or something like that. Because, you know, do a Damascus pattern. Anyway, I'm thinking about replacing both the mag tube and the barrel and getting the Riot version, the 20-inch Riot version with like a 7 or 8 round mag tube. Right about there. 7 or 8 rounds. And just turn this into a little Riot one. And then I saw a whole bullpup conversion for this thing too, once I get those barrels in. But now we've taken a $75 shotgun. We put $20 worth of parts in it, so it's a $95 shotgun. And if we buy the Bulldog kit for it, that's probably $200-300 right there. And then the barrel magazine tube kit, that's $219. So I'm going to pump this thing up to, I use that word intentionally, $600 to $700. I may just stop at the extended tube and barrel, and then keep it like that. It's got not fanciful, but it's got some etchings on the side here from waterfowl and some other stuff like that, which do I care about that? Not in the least. But what I may do is see, I think it's not loaded. What I may do is change out the stock here for the mag pull. They have a little bit of a drop down, more of a pistol grip with their other stock, but it was like $300 and something for that, and I'm like, maybe I won't, because I don't care about whatever tiny bit of fanciness. We may finish the stock again, you know, take the plastic bits off, change this thing out here, redo the stock with some new stain. The front fore end here still in really good condition. It's a fatter version. Magpul makes a bunch of stuff for it. In fact, I found at Tractor Supply they have a flashlight attachment which goes on the end here, right there, and then you know you can go with it there. Apparently there's a crap ton of stuff you can do for the shotgun, but what we're going to do with it is we're going to take out the trigger housing right here, and then what we're going to do from there is we're going to dig down deep. So what I'm going to try to do is, just for right now, we're going to do a pull in. I'm going to readjust my camera. We're going to do a pull in, and then we're just going to punch these pins out. And these pins out come out very, very easy. So, and then what we'll do is we'll get a close up from there. Maybe I'll put the camera on top of the desk or something like that. All right, ready? Okay, there are a couple of videos out there, one of which I learned, which showed me how to take apart the trigger assembly entirely. But it's incredibly easy. Anybody who knows they have a Musburg 500, this is an aluminum frame with a plastic trigger housing with a bunch of steel parts in it. Wouldn't mind a steel frame, but hey, you know, it's a nice lightweight hunting shotgun. So, but what we're going to do here is super simple. Let's get my little block, like so. We're going to do this. Just a little Harbor Freight hammer. Put that right there. Super light tap. There's the pin. Pull that out. Okay. Now, what I recommend from this point here is get a dish. This is not a dish. This is actually a diamond honing wheel for making milling bits. But we're going to use that as our dish. Okay. And then we pull that down as usual, and of course everything falls out with it. So in the dish it goes. All right. So one problem about friction fit stuff. So okay, can you see this okay? Yeah, you can see okay. Boom. We can do this. Got a little more light on that. All right. So here's everything that controls this. Okay. So we had come back. Oh, hey. it's not working. Why is this not working? Okay, well let's try something. Let's pull back on this, and then no, that's not working either. So what can we possibly do? I know. Let's get this guy, poke it in the front, because you'll see. Let's see here. Can you see? Maybe. All right. Creep across here. All right, trying to get this right, just so you guys can see this. Okay, you don't really need to see this, but what it is that's the sear right there, which grabs or blocks the hammer from falling. Right in there, that very front tiny piece. And so to show you, here are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pins that hold everything in. And we're going to have to take them all out just to fix the one problem that's going on in there. And what's going on in there is that sear is not being pushed back to capture that hammer. So what we do is we poke our spring in there. Oh, hey, look, and there it is. That works. I wonder what's going on there. Okay, so when we pull the trigger, it springs forward. Yay, that's awesome. So I don't really know the best way to tell you guys to take this thing apart, but there is also, this pin holds in 2 springs. That one, right, that right there. This is kind of a V shape, which fits down into a channel. This one's kind of a weird shape, which latches on top and then comes back down around the bottom. This pin holds a tiny spring on this side, and that's what's broken. So the way this works is you take everything out, and I'm going to take this one out last, because what I've learned is you come by here. We're going to move the shotgun, right? We're going to come through here, and we're going to take the hammer pin out first. Okie doke. Oh my gosh, that was so simple. I just gave it a press, and the pin's coming out. Push again. Pull, and then it starts to spring up. Okay, so now we have this pin here, goes in the dish, and these pins, I think 2 of them are the same size, but they have different widths. We have this width, we have that width, we have this width, and this width over here, and then this width over here. So all the pins are a different width. Alright, so there's the hammer. The hammer just comes up and out. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, here's a spur. A little wrench. You see that notch? Notch goes on the bottom and just comes out. Now this, you're not going to be able to see it with this thing here. Can you see that? Almost. Alright, yeah, you can barely see it. So you see down there in the shadows, that's the spring and piston that pushes against this arm, which forces this hammer forward, because it goes onto that pin right there, which we're not going to take out because we just keep all this the way it is. So these aren't locked. These all float around in there and land everywhere. Okay, but you got to remember, when you're putting it back, there's the notch right there, and that goes down into the trigger assembly. Okay, so we have the 2 parts there, right? Tonic water. Okay. Alright, the next one is this bar here. I don't know exactly what these do because the gun doesn't function properly, but I do know that we have that spring, we have that spring, and that spring is this guy right here. This weird shaped mother son of a whatever. So when you push this thing out, keep your thumb over all of it. And again, these things are pushing right out. I don't know if this is good or bad. You Musburg owners out there, this is my first Musburg. I'm usually a Winchester guy. There we go. Pull the pin out. Okay, ease. Ease, 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 ease. Nothing's happening. Okay, ease, 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 ease. Alright, springs are starting to come apart. Excuse me, I'm sorry about that. So what we're going to do is, this spring, which is in the form of a V like this, is trapped underneath this bar. Now you can, with the help of any type of dental pick that you had lying around a minute ago in your shop, there it is, can reach in here, just give that a tug. Now these springs, again, one of the first things I like to do too is when I get these older guns is change out the springs. But these springs aren't all manufactured still. So I had to buy a couple used ones. Alright, there we go. So this winds, can you see it? Right about there. So this one winds and goes down, goes across the bottom, then comes up and has this prong sticking out. So, careful, careful. So, there it is there. And this hook is that one part that sits on top. What I'm going to do is I'll put that right there. So that little hook sat there, it ran down in the channel, the channel down here, then back up under this bar, and then it locks it on that. Okay? So now what we have here is we have a spring that's wrapped around this one. So we're going to pull this guy off, which is fairly simple. He just comes off. And just remember that this hooks over the top and this goes down around the bottom. And all that's held in, including this, with one pin. Now the easiest way to do this, from what I understand, oh, like that. Oh, that was easy. They also say to push it through, just turn it sideways and then slide it in. Okay, so we are good there. So now what we have here is the trigger assembly, like so, just being held in by this pin here. Now this is also being held in by a pin into this. So this bar comes down. Where are you? Let's go over here. This bar comes down and sits into a pin in this piece right here. And then this piece is attached to the trigger, which is held in by that pin there. So let's see if we can just push this out. Yeah, and again, it's coming out super easy, which is always scary because is something getting fucked up? Maybe, maybe not. But it's good to have a pair of pliers nearby. Again, Harbor Freight. That's under a little bit of pressure, so you want to keep your finger on top, just like I got right there. And that'll just come. That just comes up like so. And what I'm going to do is, here's the pressure right here. That's the back piston that's being held in by this pin here. And the reason why you want to push that out after you get all this done is simply because when you go to reassemble everything, it's going to be nicer when there's no massive amounts of pressure. When you're trying to get the hammer in there, it'll fit in. And then what your massive amounts of pressures come from is trying to get this spring in here. So what we got is, this is the transfer bar, and it's really fancy too. Look at that cut. You see that cut? Step, 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 cut. Okay, well the sear sits right here. This indent, they push it out a little bit, sits in that piece right there. Yoink. So that's how it sits inside the gun, like so. Oops, sorry, I lied. There we go. Okay, so, and that's where the pivot pin is. But we also happen to have, in the dish, we also happen to have a spring, which is just a general pressure spring that creates forward pressure on the trigger to help press things, you know, back into position. Okay, so that goes in the dish. Okay, springs are pretty unique devices in this. So if you're taking the gun apart, I would recommend that if you want to take this thing apart and clean it down to the bare bones, I would recommend doing it. I kind of wiped everything down. I didn't scrub it. I wouldn't use anything metal on this at all because it's plastic. But what I would use is a nylon brush, Hoppy's number 9, and do a general cleanup on everything. I'm not sure if you can get new springs of these. I think I bought a good used spring. So that's my power piston. We have one pin left, and we have this last piece, and there's a spring. Yep, see how that fell down? That's the sear. Hey! And there's the spring. And I'll show you the whole problem with this whole hammer thing is that guy right there. That little guy right there. Luckily, I got like 8 replacement springs. It's kind of dumb, but I just ended up with that. Don't judge. Stop judging me. You're judging me. Really? Is that the thinnest? Oh, you know what I gotta do? I gotta. Okay, there's no spring tension on this thing whatsoever. So it doesn't matter. It's just gonna flop about. Oh yeah, move your trigger off to the side. Pull your pin. So that's the last pin out. These are the last parts out. Okay. See that guy? That guy's busted. See this guy? Alright, that's the sear. Right there, baby. That's the guy that makes the magic happen. Technically it's the spring here. But, like I said, I panicked and bought like 6 of these things. So I'm keeping it up close like this because I want you to see. We got the sear, we got this spring, and we got that spring. See the difference between the two of them? See how that? So we got that son of a bitch right there. That right there is what broke. And it tells me that this might be an inherent problem with this particular design on this guy. Because what I believe all it does, because there's no hole on the side other than for the pin on this piece. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, right there. There's no hole on this side for that pin to go into. So literally as it sits there on the wall, the spring, oh my giant hands. Nope, spin that around. So this is how it goes, right? So the spring, all it does is push on the back side like that. Literally all it does. Can you see that? And so this spring comes up, presses against the wall, which creates the pressure to come back. That is just the, I'm sorry, Musburg, that is the dumbest idea I've seen. So, but there's a video out there when you type in, if you happen to have a Musburg 500, let's go wide again. Okay, that's close enough. It's an animated show, but what it does is it breaks down the entire gun, every bolt, every screw, everything. It goes through in about 2 minutes of a disassembly and then reassembly. But it's the reassembly part that you're kind of looking at going, so no, hold on there. Hold on there. So, okay, what we have here is we have this last pin. What we're going to do is just poke that out. Now this guy's a little tougher because he's flared out on the back side. Okay, let's... okay, what am I going to do here? We're going to do this so that we can knock everything off the shelf and lose half of it. Okay, we got this guy here. And then we've got this guy here. Okay. Here's one of the worst parts about this. I don't know if you can see that. Nope, probably not. We're going to telephoto in him one more time. Right about there. Okay. Keep it up. See the little mark down the side there? There are 3 of them. So they flare the pin out so that when you drive it into this plastic, it freaking holds it there. Okay, well that's great, but what is that eventually going to do? What's going to give out first? The plastic or the pin? So, you shouldn't have to take your gun apart this much. But that pin issue, that spring issue, that's kind of a problem. I don't like that. Alright, and then there's going to be a lot of swearing. Alright. Whoa. Pinned through all the way already. That's okay. We're going to come in here. We're going to slip it down around. We're going to do something strange. That's for damn sure. Let's try this. Alright, there's that. We need to grab this, move that guy down in. Huh, that wasn't so hard. But our problem still exists as we have this with no spring to it. Which I wonder if wouldn't be such a bad idea. So I'm trying to figure this out too, because this is the first time I'm doing this with a spring in it. And so what it's got going on is the spring is loose. It's not behind here. Can you see that? Let's bring it in a little. Alright, the spring is loose. Stick my melon in here in a second. There we go. The spring is loose. It's not behind here, but I'm trying to get the spring to come around. But as soon as we do that, it's going to put all that pressure on there and force it down. Well, okay. Well, now we're where we're supposed to be, because you see we have all that tension. That's got to be it. So, but in this position here, what we can do is take this pin. Let's go this way. We're going to go. This is going to be the fun part here, guys. Now we're going to chase that son of a bitch. Ooh, I like that. I really like that. Okay, so there's resistance on there. We've got an equal distance on both sides where this pin sits. And what I did was I used this guy here. So the next part that I'm going to put in is the trigger again. Okay, now you can reverse order all this. You don't have to watch the rest of this. Plus, I don't know, if you want to just be laughing at me, that would be fine too. Of course, you're not being able to see a whole lot of stuff. So what we got here is, we got this guy, right? And we've got this guy, right? So So, but the thing about this time is that we need to have that up, and this is where I think a vise is going to come in. Maybe? No. Oh wait, let's do this. Let's put the trigger in. Okay. The trigger, I don't know if you can see it. Like so. You got to kind of wiggle the spring past the socket. You have to go just below the socket, right? Oh, see, right there. You press that in, like so, and then you line it up. Come on, baby. Up. What I'm doing is I'm trying to push the pin in, so I got sideways pressure. I'm looking for the hole in the trigger, which is right about there, and I'm trying to press back on both these two pieces here to try to figure that out. And so you'll get it. It's not that hard. If I can do it, you can do it. Ah, see, there it is right there. Okay, so but now we have this little pin here, but we don't have a full range. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be hooking this up with that end, getting it set, and then trying to bring this up to, oh, look at this, man. This is great because the pin is so large. Oh, look at that. Oh, that worked. So I didn't set this pin all the way through, so that gave me a little bit of room to wiggle this thing around. And so what I need to do here is bring it forward. There, we're in. And now what we do is we get the other pin. Now here's the fun stuff. Remember, the pin width is all different. So that's side to side there. And that looks correct. So we're going to do this. We're going to push back just a little bit more. There we go. And then we push that pin out like that. And hey, look at that. It's working. Here is the absolute fun stuff. We've got 2 pins of the 5 ready to go back, back in. This seems to be working far better than before. We're not going to know because the hammer is going to be the last part in there, and that's when we find out when things are working or not. So they weren't, as you can see, I mean, you can really see that pin. Look at that spring right there. You think they could have drilled a hole in the side of that sear and you slide the little pin into that? Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is, the last thing we do is the hammer and that. So we have that bar, this bar, the hammer, the back pin piston. Uh-oh. See like that? Oh, there we go. Spring. It's a magical thing. And so what we're going to do here, this might be a little difficult. We are going to take this guy here. He comes around this way. This guy slips up underneath. Like so. We push him into place because he sits on the outside. On the outside looking in. So like so. Ouch! Okay, so that's pretty much what we want right there, because that's going to sit just how we want that. This guy is going to sit right there, and all the pins are going to match, but there's no way that we can really put it in there. So what I want to do is which pin is it? Right, that's the last pin. So if you do this again, you may want to first pin, second pin, third pin, fourth pin along the bench line or along your table line, and then when you put them back, you go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That particular pattern. So this guy here, I'm pretty sure that's the hammer pin. Yep. And that's this guy here. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to fit him in here first. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to hook him into the spring. Oh wait, you know what? Can't do that. You've got to what did I say? Ha! Okay, we got that. We got that. So that's the easy part. I've got the spring. Now we just press down and find the hole, which is going to be fun. Ah! Oh well. Alright, we'll push it through a little bit further. But at least this time we have a little bit more clear presence. Alright, let's do this. Okay, we do that. Hook this back up over the top. Push that back that way. I know this is probably boring, guys. You can barely see anything. But it's just basically, I'm trying to fit the pin through and get the first spring on and get this guy pressed over and get the pins aligned. There we go. Alright, I just gave it a little tap and it went in. Now we're to the very blank edge right there. Because now what we're going to do is we're going to try to get this guy going. And this guy's got to go, he's a little less tough, but he's got to go down and under and then on top. And to do that, we're going to try this guy here, because that way the spring will shoot off and fly under something and I'll have to buy a new one. You little bastard. You little bastard. Let's figure out what we're going to do here. Alright, we got that? Nope. Hey, look at that. Okay. Then we take this guy, lead it up underneath, then finagle, finagle, finagle. Except this time what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to come through this side. Hey, look at that. And I think what we're going to do here is grab, we look at the pinholes on this side and push, and then there we go. Okay, it's it was easier to set the spring, push it through the rod, you know, fit it up here, push it through the bar, get a little sticking through. Then hook the spring down. Use like these little guys here. You can grab the top of the spring and fit it into position, and then using a second rod here, or a nail, or whatever you got, that should work just fine. You don't think you have to hammer it in position, but you see the difference is that it goes flush to both sides. Okay? Now we have the hammer. Okay? So the last thing we're going to do is put this guy in. And this guy's going to be fun. So, you sticking with me? Good. I may just leave this whole thing up here just as one giant boring exam. And you guys can't see very well. It's got to work on that. Maybe I'll do it all over again. Who knows? Okay. This is my window. Right there. So, I mean, the pins, they go in fairly quickly. This spring here goes in really easy. This bar hooks up underneath on here. I mean, all of this was really easy. And I believe there's actually a spring inside there. I don't even touch that because I don't even know what that's for. I forgot what it's for. So, we're back to the hammer. So, the hammer goes slot cut to the back. So, in like this. And now that sear is right in the way. Right, the bloody well, right. So what we have left are these guys here, and this is the spring tension for that. So this should just go in fairly quickly. So we take this pin, slide it in, come down a little bit, kind of push and pull. Come on. Okay, there is a small spring down there. You'll see that. You got to push down on that. And that keeps resistance on here for some reason. I don't exactly know why, because I did not research it. But we're going to do this. Go a little forward. We're going to do this. Okay. Tell you, these pins with the cone on the front is pretty good stuff. Ah, that was easy. Right? Alright, so the hammer's on there. Uh-oh. We have a slight problem. Okay, here we go. Oh, we got lots of nice spring coming back. Okay, ready? So now we have the fork hook. Remember? We have the little notch cut down, goes into the back on a little pin right there. But what it's going to do is it's going to slide into that hole where the piston goes. So we are or are not on that. Let's take a look. Okay, we are on that. So, okay, hammered down. Piston in, spring in. This is the hard part. Because we want to go one size, two size down, because we want to put pressure on the spring, but we don't want to put pressure there, see? So what we have here is, where are you? Oh Lord. Alright, you see that? Okay, right there. So we've got the spring down far enough to get the pin on the first side, and then what we're going to do is we're going to push that across. Give it a shove. We need to give a flat, something flat to push down in there. could probably do it this way too. What do we have? What do we have? Let's try this guy. So what I'm trying right now is, I'm trying just to push on the spring. And to do that, I'm using this guy here. Buck, buck. On either side of the spring, just enough to get the pin in. This idea does work pretty good. Pins in. Remember, tap it flush. Don't beat the shit out of it. Okay. It's flush. Look at that. Wide. Okay. So, we're happy about that, are we? So now what we do is, obviously with the Musburg 500, we have these two here, and they're held in by friction. The U part goes in, so it holds the shell in to the magazine tube, and then it is all held in place by the trigger housing. And you lean that in there, clamp it down, or does it go the back route? Nope, there's a little notch right there, sorry. Just like so. Place this pin. Seriously, you little rat fucker. Really? That was really loose. Okay, so here is the test. Hey! That seems a lot nicer. Now we just don't know if it fires. Alright, so there it is. Boom. Let's put the safety on. Oh, no boom. Safety off. Boom. There we go. Alright, I'm going to back the camera off a little bit. Okay guys, so now you know, and I hope I was in tune, I hope I was in, what is it, in focus, and you guys could see most everything that's going on there. Again, it's just a matter of pushing pins out, pushing pins in, and changing out the last spring you take out, the first spring you put in, and it's still kind of hinky to me. That is really hinky. Just having a spring sitting on like that, that's just weird. So, but hold the trigger down. There we go. Alright, so that's working. So again, this barrel, for me, it's the rust on it is cleanable. It can be still used. It's fairly smooth on the inside. There's light rust down by the chamber. I'd like to take this out shooting a couple of times just to see if it explodes. I don't think it will. I think everything actually is really good. It's just, it's really cruddy looking on the outside. But, you know, I don't care too much for it. At this point, I'll probably pull it. I'll buy that other part where it turns it into the 20-inch riot-style shotgun. And I may get, like this area down here, I may get a side saddle, put some rounds on here. I don't want to go too freaking crazy with this stuff, but you can get a side saddle with a rail mount right here on top, so that I can put optics, and literally the optics would be like just a simple red dot for a shotgun at maybe, what, 50, 75 feet. Boom, boom, boom. You know, put the riot stuff on there. The riot barrel comes with sights, rifle sights, so I don't think it's rifled. And let's turn this off. That's the extent of this video, guys. I bought a massive extra parts here, so it's always good to get yourself some like small plastic containers that are socket sized or pocketed or anything like that, and you keep all your pieces in there. So I don't like the design of that whole thing right there. But I think cheapness wise, it really works out very, very well, and everyone knows how well the Musburg 500 handles up. So at that point, I may just switch out the barrels and play with the gun until I'm tired with it. Put a side saddle on here, turn it into tactical. Something that's tactical. Oh, look at me, I got my tactical shotgun. What I say about my chickens. Anyway, and from there, guys and gals, whoever's out there, what is it, SU-27 fighters? You're all welcome. Put your comments down below. Have some fun with it. If it's really crappy and you guys super hate it and want more close-ups, let me know and I will redo the whole thing. I will do the whole thing for you folks, okay? If you understand everything that's going on, because I'm not sure if I'll put a link in there, but maybe after the video is uploaded, I'll put a copy, or I'll copy and paste the web address for the one video that I saw where it takes apart everything. And yeah, $75 plus. I bought about $30 worth of these guys here, $40 worth of those guys there. I got some other things. I got the firing pin spring to change out. That's going to be cool. And okay, here comes the dog now. Alright, how's everything going? Hey everybody, it's been a while since I've made a video. And here comes the dog. Hello, how are you? Are you doing okay? Yeah, bang the camera. Thank you. That's a good girl.